little bit, we learned a lot, not a little bit actually, a lot about taking notes. Taking notes while we are reading, okay? So that was helping us. Also, that helped us with our writing yesterday too, remember? So let's make sure let's keep that practice up, okay? So today when you're reading, jot down some notes about your mystery book, okay? I know Diana had some sticky notes. Some other of you have pieces of paper. Some of you have notebooks. What you could do is if you have a whole notebook and you don't want to maybe keep that around, you could just rip out a sheet, fold it, and keep it by your Chromebook, okay? And that's something you can use. So today, we're going to be learning about something else today, okay? So we've been doing so much with mysteries and us talking about mysteries all the time in class, in reading and in writing, and seeing how you guys are writing with mysteries. I just remembered how much I used to love mysteries as a kid, okay? So I started reading my Nancy Drew books again. I think I've talked to you guys a little bit about my Nancy Drew books before. So last night I was reading my books. The one that I love, my favorite one, is Secret of the Shadow Ranch. So I was reading it pretty late last night. I just couldn't put it down, okay? So though I was reading it and Nancy was talking to her friend Bess and George. And I was like, wow, she talks to them a lot in this book. A lot, okay? They're in every Nancy Drew book I've read, which I've read about 20. Bess and George are in every book. So Nancy was talking to Bess and George and about the clues that she had noticed at the ranch. Because this mystery story was about a ghost horse that was haunting the ranch. So I noticed that and I stopped reading. And reading that made me realize something I want to talk to you guys today. So I realized that not only a lot of detectives, but I would say most detectives, most great detectives, they don't just work by themselves. They have friends, partners, or even sidekicks who act like co-detectives. So think about it. I just talked about Nancy Drew and then her friend Bess and George. Have you guys ever heard of Sherlock Holmes before? Give me a thumbs up if you've ever heard of Sherlock Holmes before. A few of you. So Sherlock Holmes has a best friend named Dr. Watson. They work together. So think about the book where, let me find my mystery, our absent author book. Think about this book. Dink has Josh and Ruth Rose helping him, right? The book Cam Jansen. Cam Jansen has Eric. And then Scooby-Doo, guys. Scooby-Doo. They have Velma, Fred, Daphne. Who else? Shaggy and Scooby. So my point is that detectives usually, they don't work alone. They talk about the clues with someone else. They wonder about the clues with that person. They ask questions. They make guesses. They then go and back and revise or fix those guesses, okay, with all the helps with their sidekick, their co-partner, their co-detective. So at the end of the day, yes, the detective, the main detective solves the mystery, but not without some major help. Not without some major help from their friend, right? So, and this made me think of you guys, okay? So, yesterday we were talking about what we can do and how to get through the tricky part of reading, right? We did a little bit of that in our writing lesson. Things that you could do to get past those tricky parts. Reread, look back, jot notes down. So, the greatest tool of all, though, is each other. And I know it's a little difficult right now because we're in Zoom and you can't really be physically next to your partner, but we're going to figure out ways that reading with a partner, they can help be your co-detective, okay? And think about it. We are all reading this book together, right? So it's like we're all co-detectives with each other. So even when you aren't reading the same mystery book, though, because all of you guys are reading different mystery books, you guys can talk to each other about your mystery books, and maybe your friend can give a different perspective. Remember, we learned about that earlier. Maybe they see it a different way. So I want to show you an example. Miss Stanfield and Miss Wilson went ahead and they worked together to figure out this mystery, okay? So they're going to show you how they work together as co-detectives to help each other grow more in their mystery, okay? So all we have to do is we need to be watching this video, okay?
Hi, boys and girls. Let's pretend that Miss Stanfield is my partner. She's going to be my co-detective. So watch as we each bring our own mystery books to the conversation. I have my mystery book ready. Do you?
I have mine.
Oh, fantastic. So boys and girls, your job is to notice helpful things that we do as co-detective reading partners, things that you and your co-detective might try too. All right.
So tell me about your book so far.
Okay, boys and girls, did you notice that? She asked me to talk about my book. Now listen up, keep noticing things that my co-detective reading partner and I do. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready.
Are you guys ready? Give me a thumbs up. I want to see it. Thumbs up. Are we all ready? All right. Let's keep listening to see what they do.
Okay. Awesome.
Pay
Let's go ahead and
attention
begin.
to how they're
So,
talking to each
Miss
other.
Stanfield, since we last spoke, my detectives, Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose, went to question Olivia Nugent. Mavis Green came along too. Olivia was the maid in the hotel where Wallace Wallace was supposed to be staying. Olivia said that in room 303, the bed had not been slept in, and in room 302, there was a do not disturb sign on the door. I'm in chapter 7 now, and detectives are back at Dink's house eating lunch. They're doing something or other. I'm not really sure what though.
What do you mean they are doing something or other? Are you sort of confused? What part are you confused about?
Well, there was this part where they were all sitting at a picnic table eating outside, and Josh and Dink, they had some cookies and lemonade, and they were moving them around on the table, and they were saying a lot of things, and the little objects represented other. I don't know, right? I just wasn't really sure why he was doing that.
I think that is a great question. So let's go ahead and reread that part together and think about it.
So,
Right, so let me share.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've got my book in front of me, and it's always really important that I go back and reread things, especially if I'm really confused, to see if I can pick up on our clues or see if they make sense for me, right?
So that's something that you guys could do or that we talked about. Miss Wilson, she's a little confused. So what she's going to do, she's going to use that strategy of going back into the book. Remember, we've been doing that. We've been going back. Yes, we already read it, but it never hurts us to read it again. So let's keep listening.
Okay.
And then Miss.
Chapter 7. Dink, Josh, and Ruth Rose left Mavis at Ellie's diner, then headed for Dink's house. Dink made tuna sandwiches and lemonade. Ruth Rose brought a bag of potato chips and some raisin cookies from her house next door. They ate at the picnic table in Dink's backyard. Dink took a bite of his sandwich. After he swallowed, he said, "Let's go over what we know." He moved his lemonade glass to the middle of the table. "My glass is the airport," he said. "We know Wallace Wallace landed." "How do we know that he did?" Josh asked. "The airport told me that the plane landed, Josh. And Maureen Higgins said that she picked him up," Ruth Rose added. "Okay, so your glass is the airport," Josh said. "Keep going, Dink." Dink slid his sandwich plate over next to his glass. "My plate is Maureen's taxi." He put a cookie on the plate. "The cookie is Wallace Wallace getting into the taxi," Dink said. Dink slid the plate over to the open potato chip bag. "This bag is the hotel." He walked the Wallace Wallace cookie from the plate into the bag. Dink looked at Josh and Ruth Rose. "But what happened to Wallace Wallace after he walked into the lobby?"
I think I get it. They are using the cookies and lemonade glass and other stuff to show off what happened. So the cookie is Wallace Wallace, and the lemonade glass, sandwich plate, and potato chip bags are all the places he went to after he landed.
Oh, now it makes so much more sense. Dink and Josh and Ruth Rose are trying to figure out what they know about what happened to Wallace Wallace, and they are trying to recreate the crime scene using parts of their lunch as the people and places that are involved. The detectives keep reviewing their clues and imagining what might have happened to Wallace Wallace. They know he got off the plane, was picked up in the taxi by Maureen, and reached the hotel. But they don't know what happened to him after that, and they don't think Olivia or Mr. Paskey or Mr. Linkletter kidnapped Wallace Wallace.
What do you think your detectives will do now that they have eliminated a few suspects?
I wonder if they'll go back to the hotel. That seems like a good place to look for more clues. That's the last place Wallace Wallace was. I'm a little suspicious of that hotel.
Yeah, maybe they will go back to check it out more. Detectives always do that.
All right, so they gave us an amazing example of how two partners work together to be co-detectives. Did you see how Miss Wilson was confused? So Miss Stanfield kind of helped her through. They decided together to go back into their book and reread, and then they talked about it together and worked out Miss Wilson's problems together. So that is something that we're going to be working on soon together. We're going to be going into breakout rooms, not today, and then you guys are going to be working with partners to talk about your books, okay? So we do a little bit of partner work and group work, I should say, not just partner, when we talk about the absent author, because we're all reading together, we're all learning about the book, and we're all answering the questions that we each have, okay? So solving a mystery. Mysteries have lots of twists and turns. Sometimes there's just a dead end and you're like, oh my God, what is happening? It's easier when you have a co-detective by your side. So keep in mind that when we talk to reading partners, we need to make sure that we're marking the spots in our book that we want to talk about. So yesterday, I think, remember we were looking through how Mrs. Stanfield, Miss Wilson, and Miss Vaccarino take notes. One of them took notes by putting page numbers. So today, while you're independently reading, I want you guys to be taking notes, just like we did yesterday, okay? Either on a sticky note, a sheet of paper, anything you could find to write on, okay? So push yourself to be reading lots of pages today, okay? So we have new things to share, because at the end today, we might have time to talk about what you guys learned in your books, and maybe if there's a part you're confused about, maybe we can help you through that, okay?